Hello students, I welcome all the Standard 7 students on this virtual class. As you all know that our school already have started the online classes so that you will be benefited from this and engage yourself in your studies properly. So we will start physics today also. So as you all know that one, the first chapter is your physical quantities and its measurements. You all know that one about different types of physical quantities are there and its measurements are also there. So in your first chapter it is given that some physical quantities, name of the physical quantities and its measurement and the system of units on which we will be measuring that physical quantities. So before that we must have to know that one about physical quantities. What is physical quantities and what are the systems are present to measure the physical quantities. So let us start the chapter about physical quantities. So let's start. So here we will learn about physical quantities. As you can see in the screen that physical quantities, we tend to compare everything around us. That means everything whatever it is, whether if we want to measure our height, whether we want to know the weight or the mass of something, or if we want to measure some length or breadth or something else, we must compare everything around us with a particular point of unit. Okay, in physics we measure to compare quantities, but only certain quantities are measurable. Especially in physics we measure to compare quantities. We are trying to measure different physical quantities, but only certain quantities are measurable. That means what? Certain quantities are measurable, but different quantities are there which cannot be measurable, like happiness, emotions, sadness. These all are unmeasurable quantities which we cannot measure. But there are some certain physical quantities are there which we can measure also. By the help of different units are there, measurable quantities are there. So we can measure that one. So that's why in here it is given that in physics we measure to compare quantities, but only certain quantities are measurable. Let us see which quantities are measurable and which are not. Let us see here again. As I said that time can be measured by a clock. You all know that. You are using in your day-to-day life also that time we are measuring by the help of a clock. Firstly, let's take a look on some measurable quantities. Speed can be measured by speedometer. Before that, what we have discussed, time is measured by the help of a clock. Speed can be measured by speedometer. In your vehicle, you can see that one speedometer will be there, by the help of which we can determine that speed of the vehicle, how fast it is going. That one we can measure. Measurable quantities, this one. Speed can be measured by speedometer. Then mass can be measured by a balance. Everywhere wherever we are going, if we are asking to buy something from any shop, grocery shop, 1 kilogram of potatoes, 1 kilogram of onion, or 1 kilogram of something, whatever it is, they are measuring this one by the help of a balance. Physical balance also it is called, or beam balance also it is called. Okay, then anger. But on the other hand, there are some quantities which cannot be measured, like anger. Next one, happiness also we cannot measure. Yes, now let us see how measurable quantities are classified. Again, that measurable quantities are classified into different types. So let us see how that measurable quantities are classified. In physics, measurable quantities are called physical quantities. So when we started this chapter, at that time I said physical quantities. So in physics, measurable quantities are called only physical quantities. Okay. So the next one, there are two kinds of physical quantities based on units. Especially there are two kinds of physical quantities based on unit. The first kind is fundamental quantities. These are arbitrarily defined one. So there are two type of quantities. First one is fundamental quantities. These are arbitrarily defined one. Second one, the second kind is derived quantity. These are derived from that fundamental quantities. So fundamental quantities, what is that one? Let us see. Assume you have to measure your height in kilogram. This clearly makes no sense. You all know that one. Because what it is asking here, assume you have to measure your height in kilogram. Is it possible to measure your height in kilogram? No, because height is different unit and that kilogram is also different unit. Height can be measured in different unit and that kilogram is the unit of different things also. As you all know that one, height can be measured by the help of a meter ruler, but kilogram is the unit of mass. Mass means the amount of matter contained in it. So that's why this clearly makes no sense. We cannot use kilometer while measuring that volume of a substance. We cannot use meter by measuring the density of a substance. So exactly like that, different physical quantities are present which can be measured independently with a particular unit. So let us see, this suggests that fundamental quantities are independent. Fundamental quantities are independent. It is not depend upon others. But that second one, first one is the fundamental quantities, it does not depend upon the any other quantities. Base units, unit symbol. Length, its unit is meter and symbol m. Mass, second one is the mass, unit is kilogram, symbol kg. Second base quantities, time, unit is second, symbol is small s. Some basic fundamental quantities are length, mass, time, that is unit meter, kilogram, second, symbol small m, kg, small s. So height can only be measured in meter but not in kilograms or second. Yes. Then base quantities, length, mass, time. From previous observation we can say that to measure any size we use the meter as a unit. To measure any mass we use kilograms as a unit. To know the time we use second as a unit. The second kind is derived quantities. Previously we have discussed about that fundamental quantities, but here the second kind is derived quantities. Let us see that one. Speed, there is a formula of speed is equal to distance by time. You know that one, distance as well as time are the base quantities or the fundamental quantities, that is length and time. But derived quantities is the speed, because speed is derived from distance divided by time. These quantities depends on fundamental quantities, that is they are derived from them. So derived quantities, speed is equal to distance by time, where distance and time are the base quantities, that is fundamental quantities. For example, speed is derived from distance and time. Distance is measured in meter and time is measured in second. So hence speed formula is written as above. So speed units are meter divided by second, that is meter per second is the unit of speed, which is a derived quantities. So derived quantities, some derived quantities are given here: area, volume, density. Name: area square meter, symbol meter square, volume cubic meter, meter cube, density kilogram per cubic meter, that is symbol is also there, kilogram per cubic meter. Some derived quantities are. Now let us see what are the fundamental quantities in various system of unit. System of units, there are three system mainly previously they are using. That one is, first one, FPS. That full form of FPS is foot pound second. CGS, centimeter gram second. MKS, MKS1, that one is meter kilogram second. Some systems which were used earlier are as above. But now currently the SI system is used as a standard system of unit. The full form of SI is Internationally Standardized Unit, which is acceptable everywhere in this whole universe. So quantities: time, second; length, meter; mass, kilogram; temperature, Kelvin; amount of a substance, mole; electric current, ampere; luminous intensity, candela. There are 7 fundamental quantities in the SI system which are given above. Okay, so let us revise what we have studied. Physical quantities are of two types: fundamental quantities and derived quantities. Fundamental quantities are F, in different system of units are given FPS, CGS, MKS. You will go through it. Earlier they are used to be many system of unit, but now we have only one standard system, which is the SI system, which is given in that table also: quantity and base units: time, length, mass, temperature, amount of a substance, electric current, luminous intensity. What we can measure, the basic units of these all things are given in the right hand side, that is the base